You're a mum, you're a mum, you're a busy mum. Come listen to the Busy Mum podcast. Life hacks and inspiration for the busy modern mum.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Busy Mum podcast. Just before we get into this interview, I will be releasing new episodes each Monday morning, just like clockwork. Also, if you don't want to miss an episode, subscribe to my iTunes channel, The Busy Mum Podcast. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. Just search The Busy Mum and you should find me there. Now, a word from our sponsor. Do you find that you hop in the shower, you're enjoying the lovely hot water dripping down all over your body, relaxation, no interruptions from the kids, and you think, yeah, I'm going to shave my legs now. You just pick up your razor and it's in just the most rubbish condition. It's rusted, it's full of soap scum or shaving cream, or even your husband has grabbed it and shaved his face and not cleaned it out. Gross. But you clean it out a little bit, you give it a go, and you end up cutting your legs, and now they look worse than when they were just a little bit hairy. Well, now thanks to Pins, the latest and greatest women's leg shaving company, you can have them delivered straight to your door. New razors all the time. But not only do they have razors with 6 blades plus 4 extra cartridges in the pack, but they also have a clear shave gel, which is slippery as hell and moisturizes to boot. The gel also allows you to see exactly what you are shaving, which is great for those pits and private bits. I've been using them now for at least 6 months and am loving it. Check them out at www.pinspins.com.au. And don't forget to use the Busy Mum podcast code, BusyMum, to get 15% off your first purchase. So, Nicky, welcome to the Busy Mum podcast. How are you this morning?
I'm very well, thank you, and thanks for having me.
No worries. Whereabouts are you based? It looks really like marine-like.
I am based at a marina usually, but I'm actually working at the home this morning because the internet connection's better here.
Oh, yes, love the...
So this is 14 floors up in Bondi Junction.
Oh, lovely. Have you got a nice view then?
We have, yes. It's quite a good... Can you see that?
Oh, my God.
There you go.
Wow, that's
cool.
so nice.
I'm very
and
lucky.
You've got a good deck out there as well. You can have a cocktail out there. Woo! I'm coming over.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
So, Nicky, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What defines you? What do you do for work? And what do you do for pleasure?
All right. So I do quite a number of things. I have several businesses, one of which is in the marine industry. So I'm a dealer principal of boat brokerage. So I sell boats for a living, which is quite fun. And that's at our marina at Empire Marina Bobbin Head, which is about 35 minutes out of Sydney in a national park. It's just, you have to pinch yourself every time you go to work because it's a really nice place to be.
I think I've actually been down there, and it's like you can see the city kind of thing, and it's very quiet. Is that?
No, you can't see the city from it. It's off just off the North Shore.
Oh, okay.
So sort of St Ives, Pymble area, down into the national park from there. It's beautifully idyllic, but at the same time really close to towns. So it's a lovely combination of where to do some amazing boating, but also be in proximity to Sydney as well.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then my other main business is Beaches and Mountains Girls Getaways, which was a concept that came together because of my background in hotels. And then I trained as a beauty therapist about 20 years ago as well. So we put those two together to make venues that girls book for their entire group. Mm-hmm. And then we send in therapists to do massages for them. And two of our houses, one in Mollymook and one in Katoomba, have a full-time butler to look after you.
Fancy.
Which we, as a mum, when we go away to a holiday house, we invariably end up doing exactly the same as at home, but at a different sink, right?
Yeah, and less amenities.
Exactly. Yeah. So we created this butler concept so that the girls don't lift a finger and they truly get a break, which is what they really, really need.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then the third thing I do is beds on board, which is using boats as accommodation. So that's kind of a combination of the two.
Yes, we were watching something on Netflix. It was a Netflix special about, I think, in Seattle, how they have like a lot of boats in the marina docked, and they would Airbnb them out. So is it something similar to that?
It's exactly that. Yeah, but it's specialising in beds on board, obviously specialise in boats only.
Yep.
So they are entirely focused on that space.
Okay, and is that Sydney-based as well?
No, they're actually UK-based, and we're still working on the regulations in Australia to allow us to do it here.
Okay.
So we're working through that, but we're hopefully getting close to that now.
So what are the main hurdles for getting that on board in Australia? What are they throwing up at you?
Well, in Australia, if you rent out your boat for money, it has to be what we call in survey, which is a process that you have to go through to get your boat even built in a different way to a standard boat. Okay. So it's quite a complex process. So because the boats aren't going to move, they're just going to sit in the marina and be used literally as bedrooms.
Yeah.
The federal authority, AMSA, are actually working on an exemption from that ruling to allow that use potentially to occur, because they understand that the boating industry needs a bit of a hand, and that will be one of the things that will allow boat owners to get some money back on their boats. And for the marinas to get more people in to use their restaurants and cafes and all those other facilities as well, which in turn will allow more people to buy boats, more people to buy bigger boats, and for a whole bunch of people that wouldn't normally be able to afford to enjoy a boat, to enjoy a boat, which is
we love boats, and my husband's just turning 40 this month, and he's bought a boat, but he's bought an inflatable boat. Like a hardcore inflatable boat, not like a pool toy boat. And now we have to get a motor for it, which is going to cost just as much as the boat. And I'm like, wow, this is going to get expensive. And then we have to get life jackets. And then, and then. So, I'd rather just rent a boat. But then, like, looking at renting a boat, you've got to have a skipper. And then it's thousands of dollars anyway. So it's like, for the average Joe, it's kind of unaffordable. It's like for the super rich, I reckon. So fancy. Well,
it depends on, I guess, on where you focus your money. Some people have a boat instead of going on holidays, So it's
very true.
Just, it's just where you put your money, basically. But I guess with your scenario, the beauty of beds on board for you will be you'll be able to take your inflatable to the marina, stay on a big boat for the night, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't move, but you stay on it for the night, and then you go out in your inflatable the next morning, come back again, and then stay another night on the big boat again. And that way you get a whole bunch more boating time, because you don't have to take the boat out of the water.
Yeah.
And at the same time enjoy staying on a big boat. It's kind of cool.
I know, it's super cool. And you also wrote here that you're a mum to 2 gorgeous teenage boys. How is that going for you? I'm not in teenage land yet, not even into teenager, like, just before like the puberty starts to really hit in. So how are you going with all that?
Look, I think I have been particularly blessed. I have boys that are, they're on track. They're not going off the rails, thank God. One's already at uni. He's 19, and he's super smart. I'm so proud of him, and he's even created an app to teach you called Boatmaster, which teaches you how to drive a boat with twin engines and everything. What? And he's already got 10,000 followers for it and all that sort of thing. So I'm super, super proud of that.
Wow.
He's really hardworking. He spent, literally months, 8 till 10 at night in his room creating that, So he's got a really good work ethic, which I think
that's important. Super
tough
important
to create these days. And then my younger son's 16. And thankfully, he's super sports focused, because he is the kind of kid that could potentially go off the rails if, he's very, very independent, scarily independent. And but he is so sports focused that almost all of his time is taken up with sport, which I think for boys is a really great thing. I've said, lots of parents have said to me, if you've got boys, keep them focused on sport. And so one of my boys is really techie. and one of my boys is really sporty. I get the usual grunt from, when the 16-year-old comes home, how was your day? Good. What'd you do? Stuff. That's it. That's the conversation of the day. I'm an absolute pain in the bum when I walk into his room and ask him a question. That's totally inappropriate. But they're fundamentally good kids. They love their mum and their dad, and they understand the good values of life and how important family is, and they both work hard. They really work hard, and they seem to both have a genuine direction, which is really nice.
And how did you instill that into them? Because they would have got it from somewhere. Did you have the family dinners, or did you just keep that line of communication open? How did you do it? When you look back in hindsight, were there things that you were doing that's created them to be the way they are today?
I think, yes, they say that the most important thing for teenagers is to have a genuine relationship with your kids, and I think we genuinely have that. We have done the family dinners. It's harder to do now, but we did right from when they were little right until probably now. We do at least one or two a week now. But also, with the beauty of having your own businesses, because Darren and I both have our own businesses, is that you are constantly available to that business, and you do have a lot of time dedicated to that, but at the same time you get some flexibility, because you can say, well, the kids have got a concert on that day, so I'm going into work later because of that, or I'm going to work from home at 10 o'clock tonight because I can't be at the office during the day, or so you can adapt your day and your time. And we've travelled a lot together. We do a lot of holidays together, and I think that what's lovely about holidays together is you're actually together. When you're at home, they tend to, go off to their bedrooms and do their own thing. But when you're travelling together, you're constantly together and eating together and doing fun stuff together. And I think travelling makes a real difference. It doesn't have to be flash, you can just
road trips.
Go for a road trip.
Yeah, road trips are fantastic.
It just keeps you together as a family, and allows you to experience things differently and get some perspective. And I guess in terms of the work ethic, and Darren and I are just really hard workers, and they've just watched us and recognised that, if you work hard, you get to play hard. But if you don't, then you don't.
Learning through osmosis, really, isn't it? Do what you see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, and running three businesses. It's three businesses, isn't it? It's selling boats. Yeah. It's the beauty and getaway thing for girls, and then it's you're working on the beds on boats. Is that right?
Beds on board.
Beds on board. So how are you managing your time with those three businesses? Do you say, okay, Monday is dedicated to this business, Tuesday this business, or is it during the day you go morning, noon, night? Are you breaking it up that way? How are you doing it? How are you doing it all, Nicky? Tell me your words of wisdom.
I think I'm a certain character that I jump around a lot. I'm not very good at actually structuring it like that, which is probably not a good thing, but there we are. I guess I just deal with each thing as much as I can as it happens. So I really... there are set days I go to the marina, and I pretty much focus on the boat sales on those days. But having said that, if an inquiry comes in for a girls' getaway, I can't say, I can't talk to you right now. So I deal with that at the time. I do have days when I entirely focus on the girls' getaways business, and I get all up to date on those bookings and everything, and make sure everything's in place, and all the therapists are booked and all the housekeepers are booked and all that sort of stuff. So I do have days when I go through all of those and that's it. I feel better about that one now, sort of thing. But I guess you just have to. Email is a strong thing that dominates my world, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you just have to. Sometimes I make sure that in the evening I'll sort of cut myself off and stop working. But I am a bit of a workaholic, so.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Even when I don't if we ended up selling one of our businesses, I think I'd still create another business just because I need to be busy. Otherwise I feel I've got no meaning in my life, So
Exactly.
No,
exactly.
Actually, I don't need to be busy. I need to be productive, because there's a difference. Like, I could be busy just doing nothing and then actually not, like, feeling a little bit empty inside because I haven't achieved anything. But when I'm achieving stuff, it's a really nice feeling. So
Yeah, I love a productive day.
oh God, it's so good. And then you go back and you think, oh, I've done that, and I've written down everything that I've done, and I've gone, wow, that's amazing. Like, it's crazy how much you can actually fit into a day when you're like on fire. And then you get those days where you're just busy, but like you've done nothing.
Yep. Yeah.
You've kind of done nothing, and you think, oh my God, I really feel like I've done nothing. But where have I spent my time? Like, I've been moving around. It's like I'm just shuffling papers around all the time. So, Nicky, describe for us a day in the life of you. You can pick any day you want. Doesn't have to be today.
Well, we can pick today because that's nice and easy for me, right? So this morning I went for a walk. I like going for a walk in the morning because it kind of picks me up for the day and gets my brain in gear, if you like. Came home, made a coffee and some brekkie. I've told the Marina I'm coming in after this interview because internet coverage is so much better here, and I can. Yeah,
and you can.
And then set the boys off to Liam off to school. He does that all himself. I don't get involved in that at all now, which is easy. Tommy's just left for uni. Then I've got my interview with you today. Then I go into the office. I've got a boat to settle today, and I've got another negotiation's a bit tough at the moment, so we're working through that one. I've got some bookings. I've got the gorgeous girl rang me yesterday to book in for Mollymook, one of our houses in Mollymook, this weekend. So I've got to process all of her booking today. Yeah. So she's so excited. It's so gorgeous when I get those, because you feel really good that she's really busy at work and she really needs this break, and it's really lovely to be part of that, to give her that lovely escape. So we'll sort that out. So I've been texting my therapists and housekeepers and all that this morning for that. Then this evening we have like a barbecue that we have at the marina for clients once a month. We basically put it on a sausage sizzle and they bring their drinks and we all have a chat,
lovely.
And look after our clients, which is a really nice way of staying in touch with what they want and being, part of. We kind of like to think of our marina clients as part of a family, and so it's not just they're not just clients. They're part of the business and part of and that's part of the enjoyment of having a marina. You've got this sort of social community, if you like, to it, which is lovely.
It's like it's a lifestyle design that you've done, really. Like you enjoy that part of your life and you think, okay, well, how can I make money out of that? And then actually I want to be social as well, because that feeds all that goodness inside you, I think, that whole social hit. I love doing school drop-offs. I'm still at that stage where I do school drop-offs, so I'll walk in and you have 7 or 8 conversations with different people, and by 10 o'clock you've got your social hit and you're yes, ready to get on with the day. So it's really really lovely.
Yeah.
And do you have any life hacks for us?
Yes, I have a few. One is I use an app called Wunderlist, which is Wunderlist. And that's, when you're 9 o'clock at night, you suddenly think about something you've got to do tomorrow.
Yep.
I stick that on the Wunderlist, and then it's got these little check boxes, and it makes this gorgeous little noises every time you check one off. So that's really satisfying. So I have a whole bunch of different lists for different parts of my businesses and life.
Yep.
Things for the boys and all that sort of thing, and then I can tick them off when I've done them, so I don't forget them, because obviously I have a very busy brain. So then I've got Chef's Palette I use for cooking for dinner. They're kind of like HelloFresh and all that, but they do a lot more of the prep work for you.
Oh, good.
So seriously easy to dish up a really good dinner in the evening.
Okay.
So I use them for dinners, and my slow cooker. I love my slow cooker. I love
everyone says they've got a slow cooker. I need to get me one of those slow cookers.
Oh, you do, because when you walk in the afternoon after a big day at work, and you smell the slow cooking, you feel like you've got your own wife. It's fantastic.
We all need a wife. If you could get a carbon copy of yourself, and just go, yes, now you do this stuff, do the house stuff, and I'll do the business stuff.
Exactly. So that's good. And then I guess I just use every moment I can. So if I'm in the car, I'll make calls. If I'm on the train, I'll do emails or update social media or something. I think you have to be conscious and what's the word? Efficient with your time.
Yeah.
Don't just waste it. Use it.
Exactly.
Use it all the time. Yeah.
Cool. And what's the best advice you've received, Nicky?
That would be Dr. Miriam Stoppard has a great book that I read before I had kids. I was a DK consultant for a while, and I sold their books, and one of them was this Dr. Miriam Stoppard book, and it said, remember when you have your kids, they move in with you, you don't move in with them. So in other words, adapt them to your life. They've
got to fit in. They've got to fit in with you. You don't fit in with them because they don't have a schedule. Their schedule is whatever you make it.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think my kids they're perhaps more resilient because I've done that, and they can just get on and do what they're more independent, I think, because of that as well, because I've said, well, this is what we're doing. So, and that's
Suck it up.
Yeah, and a bit more like that. I haven't pandered to them,
Yes, these days, especially in the area that I'm in, you have your lawnmower parents that kind of mow the way so the kids don't see anything bad, but then you've got like your helicopter parents that like just hover, and you're like, oh my God, you're just doing my head in. And then like you've got the tiger parents that make the kid do everything on schedule, and I'm just like, whoa.
The tiger parents, I like that.
Yeah, tiger parent. Like there's all these names for it. I'm sure there'd be a blog post out there somewhere like just detailing all the different types of mums and parents out there. So it's quite funny. And you can see them a mile away. You're like, yep, just avoid.
I love it.
School is a funny place. And the books that you're currently reading, you've listed 3 of them, and one of them I have, and the other 2 I haven't heard about. So you absolutely, well, I don't know if you absolutely love it, but The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Beep.
Yeah. I've only just finished that, and I listen to books in my car often on Audible, and that was basically talking about putting your life in perspective, wasn't it? And sort of, what's your legacy going to be? And that's actually what's important, not what, what shoes you're wearing or something.
Yeah, I know Gary Vaynerchuk always says it's about the legacy you leave, not about your bank account. So you got to think really long term, not, shorter term. Well, of course, you've got to pay your bills and cash flow and everything like that. But you've got to look at what is the bigger picture, what are you trying to create and leave? Because the world has changed, like from 20 years ago. Like you could get a career and you'd be fine. Nowadays, like your career is basically a business. Like you've got to you've got to start a business to kind of build your legacy. So,
and I think what's lovely about what I do in all that I do is I make people happy, and that is a nice thing to do. Yeah,
that's the end result.
I'm lucky like that.
Yeah, of your businesses. We make men look good.
Yes, exactly.
And there's nothing better than a good-looking man.
Exactly right.
Oh goodness. So the other 2 books, tell me about them. What learning Italian? Or is this something?
And I'm doing that in the car. I'm actually trying to learn Italian because I love Italy. I'm a huge fan of Italy. And I just love the language. I think it's a beautiful language, and it seems quite simple to learn. So I'm desperately trying to learn that in the car.
Yeah.
And then the Nicky Pellegrino one is just a really relaxing. I'm obviously going through a bit of an Italian phase because that's about living under Italian skies, and it's about somebody that swaps their London flat for somebody's little house in Italy. So it's just a lovely, restful, relaxing novel.
You've obviously been to Italy?
Yes.
Yeah? I haven't been to Italy, but my husband's Italian, and my office is in Five Dock, which is pretty much Little Italy.
Oh, yeah. So I hope you pop into Papa's on a regular basis.
Oh, well, that's Huddersfield. We've got Torino's, I think, right at the end. But we've got a lot of the little delis as well, and our Coles really stocks a lot of the deli meats. It's quite extensive. And last night, Ben and I went to the Five Dock RSL. Don't judge me. And it was meat tray night, and we didn't realise, and we didn't buy any tickets, and all of the old nonnas and papas had their tickets, and they're talking in the Italian, and we're like, wow, this is like surreal, because we are definitely the odd ones out, but it's so nice to hear it all,
Yeah.
And I kind of think, that's going to be us in 80 years' time. Well, not 80 years' time, probably like 40 years' time.
Yeah, it comes around quick, unfortunately, doesn't it?
It's going pretty quick, yes.
Yeah.
I noticed you mentioned your slow cooker. So is that and the chef meals? What type of meals are you cooking on a regular basis, or what's your go-to meal, your favourite one?
My favourite one was one I did last night, actually, which is a really simple one that the boys absolutely love, and it actually gets some veggies into them easily, which is good. And that's I do like a miso broth. Mm-hmm. With a fish stock base and salmon and bok choy and Chinese broccoli and shallots. And it's all in one pot, and you just literally shove it all in, and it takes about 10 minutes to cook. And it's really healthy.
Sounds healthy.
At the same time, it's really tasty. Yeah. So it's, when I say that I'm going to do it, the boys go, yes. So that's always good.
Awesome. Yeah. And what's one area of your life you would like to improve?
Oh, look, I'd like to be fitter.
Wouldn't we all?
I'm very envious of all those people that clearly love training, that I often see in the lift of my building and think, I'd love to look like that. But, I think...
But you don't want to sacrifice the time either. It's a lot of time.
It is a lot of time. And I do feel that, I'd rather spend it with the boys or, do something with them. So I try and stay reasonably fit, but it would be nice if I were a little bit fitter.
Okay. Well, you can always change your level of fitness. That's, that's changeable, which is great. What's your greatest fear?
Oh, losing my boys. That's easy. They are my world. They're awesome kids. They make me laugh every day. They always have. And to lose them would be, I don't know how you get through it. I really don't. So
yeah, I have spoken to a couple of parents that have lost their child after birth, and I don't know how they go through it, but they actually don't get a choice. They have to deal with it. So I think death in any form is really hard, and everyone goes through it differently and at different paces. So yuck.
Yeah. So I think you just have to grab every minute and be in constant denial that it's never going to happen.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Of course. No one's ever going to die, ever. And that's what I tell my 6-year-old. She goes, are you going to die, Mummy? I'm like, no, don't be silly.
I haven't got time.
It's too much to do. I mean, they have been quite lucky because even my nan and pop on my mum's side are still alive. So they're in their 90s. So they haven't really experienced that, whereas my nan and pop on my mum's side have passed away, and I have experienced that, but I didn't have my kids at the time. So they haven't actually experienced death. So they've experienced death of a pet, though. That was interesting and sad. And it's now occasionally they miss Frankie, who is our dog, but I couldn't let him go. So we put him in a little urn. So he kind of stays in their bedroom. And they polish him up and stuff. So yeah. No, they say that's a good way of getting kids to handle death, isn't it? To have a pet. Yeah, well, it's inevitable, isn't it? It's crazy. And what are your useful websites that you go to?
I don't really have. I mean, I have some for work. I go to Ocean Magazine. I rely on Ocean Magazine, reading that, and they have an online newsletter they send. So that keeps me up to date with all the boats and stuff like that.
Is that Hillary?
Yes. The lovely Hillary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Her
she's
daughter
awesome.
goes to my daughter's school. They're in the same kindy class, yeah.
No way. Oh, she's a gorgeous, gorgeous girl and very clever at what she does.
Yeah.
And how's her lifestyle? Oh, my God.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I follow her on Instagram and go, yes, Hillary, where's my invite?
She's at Monaco one week and,
New Zealand the next.
But she works really hard, so she deserves that. But she's a gorgeous girl. So I really love her magazine. I rely on that.
I'm going to let her know next time I see her. I'm going to say,
yeah.
She'll love it.
She's gorgeous. Then I guess when the kids were little, Super Nanny saved my life. Honestly,
she was great.
Nanny? Yeah, do you remember her?
But she never had kids of her own, did she?
She never had kids of her own, but I have to say that I kind of lost control a bit when the kids were like 4 and 1.
As many do.
Right? and she got me back on track with the whole naughty step and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And that really, really worked. And I know we're not supposed to use naughty steps and all that sort of stuff. But my God, it worked. And my kids seem to be pretty well balanced and pretty happy. So I don't think it damaged them in any way. So
I have some mums that are a bit funny about the word naughty. Like they said, no, it's not naughty. I'm thinking, yes, it bloody is naughty. What they've done, they've hit a child. It's naughty. They're being naughty, you know.
So
my daughter, who's in kindy, started kindy this year. She got in trouble like 3 times and had to go to the head teacher. And I'm like, hang on a minute, you're supposed to be the good child. What is going on here? Whereas my eldest child, like, go everything by the book at school and at home, menace.
Yeah.
And my other child was just she's really good at home. And then at school, she's like, authority, what? You know. And I'm just going, oh my God, they're so different. So different. It came from the same person, but they're so different.
Don't you love it when you're sitting in a school interview and the teacher starts talking about your child and you go, you're talking about my child?
Yeah, I'm like, good. Are you sure?
Completely different to what they're like at home.
Yeah. It's like they're, with my eldest, it's like they hold it together for like those 6 hours and they hold it together and it must be quite hard for them. And then when they get home, they're just like, explosion. Oh, poor loves. Okay, I've only got a couple more questions and then I can let you get on with your day. What advice would you give to your pre-baby self?
Oh, my pre-baby self. Okay.
So 19 years ago now.
That is a long time ago now, isn't it? Mind you, it goes so damn quickly, I've got to tell you. I had a terrible time with breastfeeding. So, you know, how a lot of people give you a hard time about you've got to have not allowed to use formula and blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
I had to go to formula because of various issues that I had. So I think nobody should feel guilty about that.
Nah.
So, yeah, so I think that's, I mean, again, they're very strong, strapping kids and very healthy. So I don't think there was anything wrong with that. And I think the guilt attached to that is too much pressure on mums.
Yeah, and it's still the same today. Like that fight hasn't really changed, to be honest with you. So it's I breastfed my kids for, I think, 4 months, and then I had to wean them down in that last month because I had to go back to work. So they had no choice. And I wasn't going to sit there and just pump, 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 pump. Like, I'm not a cow. Like, you know, it's... And, like, by 4 months, so, you know, 5 months, they're wanting to be on solids and stuff. And, you know, I want them to sleep through the night, so they have to eat more substantially stuff. So, yeah, absolutely. And last question, baby equipment. What's the best baby stuff you had?
Oh, I had a fantastic, you know, one of those old-fashioned wooden playpens.
The baby jail?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one of them too.
Yeah, and it meant that I could go to the loo in peace and not have somebody pull down a hot pan on top of them or whatever.
Yeah.
And I would just sit them there sometimes and they would be watching TV whilst playing with toys and they seem to be quite well balanced. They don't seem to have any issues about being in jail. And in fact, I said to my 19-year-old this morning before I came on to this to say, do you remember being in your playpen at all? And he said, no, I don't remember it at all. So I think we need to get over that and use playpens because they keep them safe. They stop them falling downstairs and pulling things onto themselves, and I think we really need to allow ourselves to use those again. We all had them when we were kids.
Yeah,
and we seem to be okay. So,
well, I had it for both my 9 and 6-year-olds, so I was assuming they're still around.
yeah.
Not banned yet.
Yeah.
Haven't become that nanny state yet. Give us time, we'll ban them.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Nicky, for being on the Busy Mum podcast. It's been fantastic to chat with you this morning.
Yeah. Thank you. No, thank you for having me.
No worries.
Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Busy Mum podcast. Don't forget to let your friends know, and also subscribe to the iTunes channel, and also my socials if you want to see what I'm getting up to. A brand new episode is out every Monday morning, just like clockwork.